Everyone, it's Gina from Gina K Designs and welcome to Stampin' Chat. Tonight is Whimsical Wednesday and I have something really fun planned for you guys. But we always seem to start with the chat part of the evening, so I'm going to do that tonight again. Change is hard. Do you guys ever think about how hard change is? So recently I started trying to eat a little bit better to try to control my blood glucose. For those of you who don't know, I am a type 1 diabetic. I'm insulin dependent and I wear a little CGM unit here and it tells me my blood sugar every 5 minutes. And it's kind of crazy because I've been watching the numbers over the years kind of get worse and worse, which tends to happen with type 1 diabetics, all diabetics, but type 1 especially, because the way type 1 diabetes works is your pancreas just stops working. It's not like you have insulin and it's resistant like it is in type 2. Type 1, you just don't have any. And over the years, you make less and less. So I decided about a week ago that I was really going to try to take care of my blood glucose, my sugar. And I started eating a little bit better. And let me tell you, this is a full-time job. It really is. Change is hard. It's difficult. And so I don't know, some of you might be dealing with changes in your lives, like maybe you're home now taking care of kids or grandkids because they can't go back to school and your whole schedule is just completely disrupted. And, your life is turned a little bit upside down. Change is hard. But change is scary mostly when it's good for us. That's when it's really scary. And the secret to change is not to focus all your energy fighting off the old, but focus your energy on building all of the new. And that's what I'm going to be doing going forward. So I have a little quote to share with you at the end of the night about change. And it happens to be a quote that I put in the brand new kit that's coming out on Monday. So I can't wait to share that with you. So it is great to see all you guys. I hope so many of you are doing okay out there in the fires and then in the hurricane. And oh my goodness, I've seen people saying, I'm in Florida and I have no power and I'm going to miss the live tonight. So I just hope that all of you are making it through okay and that you're all safe and you're doing well. Welcome to everybody from all over the US and all over the world. I see people coming in from Australia and the UK. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So tonight I thought I would revisit an old technique just in time for autumn. So for those of you that live in a climate where you have a real autumn and the leaves start to change color and they start to fall off the tree, you start to notice the beautiful colors, but also how beautiful those leaves really are. So I went out, we're not there yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. So I went out, we have a maple tree in the backyard. It's not a big one. And I clipped a couple of the leaves off of the tree. And tonight we're going to make some cards using real leaves. Now, I did this in a video a couple of years ago where I actually used the leaves as stamps and I used Distress Oxide ink. You can also use Gina K Designs dye ink. You can use your favorite pigment inks and they make really great stamps. But tonight I thought I would step it up a little bit and I would emboss some leaves for you. So let me show you what my leaves look like here. What I did was I picked a bunch of leaves off of the tree. I actually took one off, the neighbor that was cutting the grass yesterday on Monday? Well, I clipped a couple leaves off of his tree too. And then I actually found a weed outside that I thought was a really pretty shaped leaf. This was a weed that was just growing in our garden. And I thought that was pretty and I wanted to see how it looked. So what I did was I brought the leaves in and I washed them all. I just washed them in warm water. And I did that mostly because I wanted to preserve them. When I was originally doing this technique way back, I remember getting all the leaves together for my video that I was going to do and then going back to do my video and all of the leaves had dried and curled. So I guess if you have fresh leaves or freshly fallen leaves, you want to wash them, make sure that they're nice and clean and they stay kind of, soft and supple. But if you're gonna, not be able to do this right away, press them in a book to keep them nice and flat, because mine really wrinkled up. I think I'm gonna use these two. I also got a few smaller ones that I thought maybe we could try. But, and again, these are all maple leaves. I will link the video that I did with the ones in color underneath this video at YouTube. So even if you're watching me on Facebook right now, head over to the YouTube channel later, and I will find that video and I will link it under there so you can see other ways to do this. Okay, so a couple of you are having issues with the video. I'm not sure what's going on with all the weather issues we have all over the country. If there's towers down, you just never know what the situation is. But I would say go out and come back in and see if that fixes the problem, because sometimes that's all it takes. Okay, so I'm going to get a piece of cardstock here just to work on. This is a piece of craft cardstock just to work on so that it doesn't, doesn't mess up your view and doesn't mess up my table. So here is a piece of 4¼ inch by 4¼ inch cardstock, and that's kind of a nice size for this maple leaf. But I have some big ones that I did earlier that I'll show you, and I think I'd like to try to do something a little bit smaller. So this is a 4 and let's see, no, this is a 3¾ by 5 inch piece of cardstock. And I think what I want to do is I want to come in on the side here and leave room underneath for a greeting. Okay, well, I'm sorry that you've gone out and come back in 5 times. I don't know what's going on. I think Tom's monitoring it and he can see everything just fine. He monitors it like you guys are watching it. So might be something in your area where there's a little bit of internet issue. Okay, so what I'm going to do to start this card is I am going to take a little bit of embossing magic pad, and I'm going to rub this all over the surface of this piece of cardstock. I love the shape of maple leaves too, Nicole. Definitely, definitely. Okay, so now I'm going to try this leaf, although I really liked this one too. But I think this one's nice and big. So I'm going to use some VersaMark ink for this. And that's why I have this piece of cardstock here, because I want to ink up this leaf with VersaMark. VersaMark is a really sticky ink. So I really recommend using a sticky ink. You can also use a pigment ink if you want. But for this one, I decided VersaMark would be the way to go. And you can see I'm really inking that up, and I'm inking the stem up as well. I want to get that stem. And can you see how kind of shiny that is? It's got lots of ink on it. Okay, then I'm going to get another little piece of cardstock here, just that I can use for pressure. And I'm going to lay this leaf down onto my card exactly the way I want it to look. Then I'm going to take this piece of cardstock on top, and I'm going to put pressure all over this piece of cardstock. Now, I guess you can use something else like a brayer to rub all over this if you want to. I tried a brayer earlier. Hey, you might even be able to use the Chucky tool. But I tried the brayer a little bit earlier, and I didn't get enough pressure. So I'm actually using my fingers because I'm pressing down in between the veins of the leaves to try to make some contact. Okay, use Chuck, yep. Definitely. And the other thing too is if you're watching on Facebook and you're having problems, you could try heading over to YouTube and watching there, or vice versa. Okay, so I'm going to pull that leaf off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of, I don't know how this is going to look, we'll have to see. I'm going to use some of the Gina K Designs Fine Detailed Gold Powder. You know, that's a great idea to try the Misty. The only thing I'm not sure about is, you know, the leaf isn't as thick as a stamp. So I am not sure that that door is even going to make contact with the paper unless you really raised it up somehow. Okay, so there we go. I've got my leaf going here. Now, if you've got any embossing powder where you don't want it, just use a fine brush and get it off before you start embossing, so you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, in my last video, I used Distress Oxide ink, and it was really pretty. I mean, the colors are just beautiful. You know, you can do that with our ink too, like Plum Punch and Faded Brick. There's beautiful colors that you can use, but I really wanted to see if it worked with embossing powder. So let's see what happens. Let me get rid of this so it doesn't get in the way.
Can you use either side of the leaf?
You can use either side of the leaf, but you will definitely get a different look if you use the back of the leaf than you use the front of the leaf. The veins, because they kind of sink inward on the front, give you more surface area of leaf. On the back, it'll look a lot more veiny and less solid, if that makes sense. Okay, so welcome to everybody coming in. It's great to see you. I am stamping tonight using real leaves. Let me blow this excess away. There we go. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start up here at the top. Oh yeah, that's so pretty. Now I know that there are lots of great leaf stamps out there, and we might even have a couple of leaves coming in our new kit, but they're not this big. And if you really want a leaf that just takes up the whole front of your cardstock, there's nothing like grabbing some real leaves and making a beautiful card. Okay, look at that. Will you look at that? Look how pretty that is. Oh, yes, cacti don't have leaves. They sometimes have little flowers on the top. Well, that's why I got this leaf, too. This was just a plain leaf that I pulled off of a weed, and I think it might have a good look. I haven't tried it yet, but so, yeah, isn't that pretty? Yes, we do have really, really nice leaves in the sketch leaves. Are you talking about the sketch leaves? Skeleton leaves? We've got a couple different leaf sets. Okay, now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a greeting down here. So for that, I will need my MISTI. And I think I might trim this down a little bit first. I'm going to put this aside because we're going to use that again. I'm going to trim this down a little bit. And I think I'll trim it off of this edge, so it'll be a little more on the side. I'm going to take it down to 3.5 by, I want to go to, I don't want to take the top of this leaf off. So I'm going to go to 4 7/8, and then I'm going to flip it around and go to 4 3/4. Now, if I wanted to, I could have cut that out with our dies, the master layouts too. That would have given me that same measurement. But I decided just to do it with a simple paper cutter right now. I'm going to cut this black piece down just a little bit to 3 5/8 of an inch by 4 7/8 of an inch. Okay. And then we will mount these two pieces together. And I want to do that beforehand because, see, nothing's as good as the master layouts. That is just not as straight. I should have cut it with the master layouts. All right, I'll trim a little off the edge. But when you emboss, especially if you're using like a layering weight cardstock like I am, it definitely gets a little bit warped. Even if you heat up the heat tool first, it still will get a little bit warped. So I like to use a little bit of extra tape in the mix.
You think you can use artificial leaves?
Ooh, I've never thought about trying artificial leaves. You might be able to. Why not, right? I mean, if they grab the ink, and I'm sure if you use VersaMark, it will grab the ink pretty well. It probably wouldn't grab a dye ink the same way that real leaves will grab dye ink. I'm going to trim this down. See, this is why we all need to just use master layouts and not try to be heroes. All right. Still not perfect, but we're going to go with it. That'll have to be perfect enough. Okay, so now I'm going to add a greeting. So there's so many different ways I could add a greeting to this. I could, oh, see all my tape off the edge here? I could use the thankful die and cut the word thankful and then add a little strip sentiment. Thankful for your kindness. I think I'll do that. So let's cut a couple dies out here. We'll do this with, let me get my leaf out of the way. We'll do this with some black onyx. We could do it with white, but let's see. Let's just see what happens here. I'm going to back up just a bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah, no, don't use poison ivy. I agree. Yeah, these leaves would be awesome for scrapbooking because they're so big. And I know some of you are looking for the master layouts and they are they're out of stock. But okay, just for this die, I'm going to cut it upside down. See, I have it blade side up and I'm going to cut it upside down. It's a super delicate die, and you know, sometimes we struggle a little bit with the delicate dies, but let's see what happens if this does it. If not, I'll shim it. Okay. So yeah, the master layouts, I know that they're out of stock, but I did get notification that they have shipped. So we should have those in, if not today or tomorrow rather, by our next release, which is Monday night. Can you believe it? Monday night. Okay, this worked pretty well. This is a very delicate saying, but I love it. It's so pretty. Give me a second here and I'll show it to you. Let me poke these parts out. Okay. Let me get a piece of white cardstock so you can see how pretty that is. Isn't that beautiful? Thankful. All right, I'm going to cut 2 of these out because I'm going to glue them together. I might even cut 3. Let's see how brave I am here. Let me get this out of here too. I always like to poke everything out before I cut a second time so it just doesn't make it harder. All right. Do a second pass. So yeah, my husband just said you can hang that sign. Wait, I missed that comment. What was that? Oh, so a lot of you guys are talking about the fires out there. Oh my goodness, we're praying for you guys all so much. I know it's just so bad. And believe it or not, all the way out here in Wisconsin, even my friends in Ohio are telling me that it is really, they can see the smoke in the air. It's coming all the way across the country. Ugh, I just hoping for the best for everybody. All right, there's my second one. And then I'm going to cut one more, and then we're going to glue them all together. And that really is a nice way to just make it sturdier. It looks more like an embellishment that way. I've even seen people dip it in VersaMark and then clear embossing powder and emboss them so they look almost like a black acrylic design. Or you can do it with white cardstock too. All right, so here's my final one coming out. I hope things are getting better and you guys, any hints on the new release? And you guys are able to hear us now. Any hints on the new release? Well, I did tell you guys all probably a couple weeks ago that I've decided for the first time in history that I am not rushing the seasons this year. It's not even the first day of autumn yet. That is coming up. When is the first day of autumn? Is it the 22nd? Okay. So the first day of autumn is the 22nd. So we are having our autumn release on the 21st, and we are going to go with the seasons. And then we're not having our holiday release until later in October because I just don't see the point of rushing it. It drives me nuts when it's back to school time. Well, it drives me nuts in like the end of June when you start to see back to school supplies. I mean, come on. And then you go into the stores in September and everything's decorated for Christmas. It's just too soon. And besides, if you've been with me for a while, we made tons of Christmas cards all through March and April and May. So we don't have to be in that much of a hurry to rush the seasons. We can actually enjoy the beautiful colors, right? Okay, so I'm going to get some Connect glue here. And I'm going to just dot Connect glue onto this thankful die. Yeah, and I know that people need time to make Christmas cards, but you know what? It never fails. I mean, some of you are very, very ambitious, but for me, it never failed. I would go and buy my Christmas stamps in September, and then I'd put them away because I really wasn't in the Christmas mood yet. I was just decorating my house for autumn and looking at all the beautiful autumn colors and doing all that kind of stuff, going to the apple orchard or baking apple-y things and doing all that kind of stuff. And then by the time, the end of October rolled around, we'd get through Halloween, then I would think, okay, now I'm starting to think about Christmas. But then, by then I was like almost sick of what I had and I was already ready for something new. So this year we are going to do our Christmas release in October after we've had a chance to enjoy autumn. Okay, so there's my first one put together. So you can see that. All right. And now, yes, Donna, I agree. Taking one day at a time. That is a good thing. So if you guys have any questions, so the question was what, any hints for the release. So that's my big hint, is that there is some fun autumn stuff that's coming. And I'm ready for autumn now. I'm ready to change my rainbow palette to an autumn palette. I'll still make rainbow cards though, I will. All right, now this one I'm going to attach to the final one here. And when you're doing this, don't try to do it all at once. Just work one letter at a time. So now I have my T set, and there's my H. And now I'm going to move this, get that a little bit straight there, so that kind of puts everything else in line. Connect glue is forgiving, and it doesn't dry like in a super instant. It gives you a little bit to move things around. So there we go. Oh, that looks nice. I love that. See how it's nice and chunky now? It's got a little bit of kind of depth to it. I like that. Okay. So now I think I want to stamp my greeting that goes with thankful. I'm using the stamp set Stitched Leaves. This all coordinates together. Let me see if I can get another piece of cardstock so it's easier to see this. There we go. So I'm using Stitched Leaves, and this also has a thankful in it that you can stamp instead of die cut. So thank you for your kindness, for all you do. Thankful for you. I'm so thankful. Let's see, what looks good on one of these? How about thank you for your kindness? That's always appropriate, right? Okay, I think we'll do that. Thankful for your kindness. So again, I'm going to use my Misty for this. I should probably close up my Connect glue. I'm going to use my Misty, and I'm going to tape this onto my Misty just to make sure it's nice and straight and it's not going to move in case I want to stamp it a second time. There we go. So this is also from the Master Layouts 2 die set. Welcome everyone. It's so good to see you all. I had so many people say they couldn't join us tonight because they are in the middle of weather issues. I'm just thinking about all of you tonight. Okay, for your kindness. Let's see if that's straight. Sorry if my head was in the way. Okay, that's going to have to be straight enough. Now I'm going to use an ink cube for this. I like using an ink cube when it's a strip sentiment. Get a little bit more control. You don't get it all over your Misty. I don't know if you can see that, but I didn't get it all over my Misty. And then I'll put that there. And I'll just rub my finger over it and rub my finger back. There you go. That looks pretty good. Okay, now Need to find my tidy towel. Here it is. Clean that up. And now I'm going to add this to my card. All right. So here is that beautiful leaf. And boy, you could put this. Yeah, there's some angry faces, Donna. But I think that, you know, in the beginning, I was really upset when I would look and I would see angry faces. And I would think, oh my goodness, what did I say? But sometimes people respond when, you know, if you're just talking about something that makes people angry, like, oh boy, anything like, wow, it's really, really hard to get paper towels right now, and somebody might make an angry face because they agree. So it's an agreement face. Okay, so what color should I put this on? I could put it on so many colors, but you know what I'm thinking? I just have to see what it looks like. I have to see what this gold looks like on craft. What do you guys think? Is that too, is this too like kind of country and rustic to be with the gold embossed? Because we can always switch over to something like, I don't know what this is. I think this is cranberry tart. Could do something like that. That's a little more elegant. Yeah, I know you can't please everyone. Or we could do something maybe a little bit more autumny, like prickly pear. Craft is a little boring. Yeah, I agree. How about prickly pear? Do you guys like that? You like the craft, Karen? Orange. Woo! Okay, let's see. What do we have? Here is, how about tomato soup? Be a good one? Oh, I like them all, actually. Kind of feel like this prickly pear sets it off. How about if we get this going first? We'll get the thankful on there. And then for your kindness at the bottom. Now, what do you think? You like that? I think I like that myself. I'm going to try one more color. Honey mustard. I have card bases all over the place. Honey mustard. That's pretty, but I think it's a little bit more orangey. So I think I'm going to go with that. I know a lot of people like the dark red, the cranberry. Cranberry tart. Maybe we'll go with that. All right, cranberry tart. Cranberry tart it is. Cranberry tart for sure. Okay. Seeing a lot of cranberry tart. Pear. Okay. Guess I'll have to make a couple of them in the different colors. You guys noticed on my last card, I switched out the card base. I started with yellow, and then I ended up switching out the card base on one of them when I posted my picture, and a whole bunch of you were like, wait a minute, did you change the card base to red? So that means you're really like, you're paying attention. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, that's just getting the glue off. This is my mono sand eraser. And sometimes if you get glue on the outside of your card, this mono sand eraser will just take it right off. All right, now let's put a little Connect glue on here. Cranberry is always good color. I like it. We found out that we might be able to get our cranberry tart ink pad made again. I know a lot of you really love that color, and we found out that we might be able to get it. So we're going to try to get it. It's taken forever to get ink, but we have a lot of our ink back in stock too, which is exciting. And I know some of you are like, yeah, now your ink's in stock and your white cardstock's out of stock. That just is, that's coming in tomorrow. So we're going to have a lot of things all in stock at the same time. So I'm going to put that right there. Thankful. You can see a little bit of glue oozed out from under here. I'm just going to clean that up with my craft pick, my Tim Holtz craft pick, or as Rena calls it, the stick tool. That cleaned it up pretty good. And remember, with Connect glue, it goes on white and it dries clear. So if you get it somewhere you don't want it, you'll never be able to see it once it dries. So I could pop this up, but I think I'm going to put it right on the cardstock. So we'll add a little bit more tape to that and put that right down here. Thankful for your kindness. There we go. There's card 1, stamped with a real leaf. So, you know, I often think that Thanksgiving cards per se, I don't know that I would make a lot of Thanksgiving cards. But I like the idea of making thankful cards for Thanksgiving, grateful cards. This is a little crooked, but I'm going to leave it. I like the idea of making grateful cards. At Thanksgiving, it's a great time to just let people know why you're thankful for them. Doesn't have to say Happy Thanksgiving necessarily, but it could just say thankful for your kindness or thankful for all you do. You could write inside, this is, you know, during the season of gratitude, I just wanted to let you know how thankful I am for you. So there's the first card. Okay, so that's very classy, traditional looking kind of card. So let's do something a little bit more fun and colorful. All right, so I need another piece of cardstock here. Let me get a piece. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make this one. I'm going to make this one 4 by 5 1/4 just to start, and then I'll trim it down when I'm done. Okay. So where did I put my craft piece of cardstock? So as you can see, my leaves are starting to curl up a little bit, but I can still use it. So I think this one I'm going to do right in the center going this way. Should I do that? Should I? Let me show you what I wanted to do. I wanted to do, we're all in this together. And I just think that, you know, that's such a great saying for everything that's going on right now. So I need to make sure that the leaf, I'm going to turn it sideways because I think I have to have room to put that greeting. All right, so we're going to put some more of the embossing magic pad down. And then again, I'm going to use some VersaMark. I'm sorry you guys are having a hard time getting into the live tonight. Looks like we have about 1,800 people here tonight over all the platforms. So it looks like some of you are getting through. Yes, it does look like the Canadian maple leaf. That's on the flag, right? That is on the flag, right, in Canada, Tom? Do you know? Tom is deep in thought over there. He doesn't know. And we have no neighbors left to ask. Okay, so I'm going to lay this one down once again, right here. And then I'm going to make sure I don't use something that's sticky. Let me get this piece right here. I'm just going to use a piece of this on top. Okay. So I'm using craft cardstock on top, and I'm rubbing all over the surface. I can feel the leaf because it's very three-dimensional with all the veins going through it. So I can feel that I'm getting the whole thing. And yes, I definitely think I could use my Chucky tool, but I don't want to put so much pressure on that I like squash the veins and, you know, that kind of thing. So let's just see how this one comes out. And one thing that I noticed is, especially last time when I was making the cards, the more you use the same leaf, the better it transfers ink. I don't know if it's because it gets flatter or something, but it transfers the ink better. So let's do this one with white embossing powder. This is going to be an emboss resist one. We'll do something a little bit. We'll do something. It'll have some traditional colors in it, but it'll also have some brightness to it. Okay. Ooh, that really smashed down. I don't know. We'll have to see if we get much detail out of that. But you can see what's happening. Well, you can't see that here, but if we have to do another one, we will. Okay. Let's try it. This is very solid in certain areas. Now you could also do this on ivory cardstock. Wait a minute, I didn't get some powder over here. You could do this with ivory cardstock for a little bit more of a natural palette, you know, a warmer palette. I did it on white, but certainly ivory would be beautiful. Yeah, that's a great idea, Chris. You could put it through your die cutting machine and the pressure would probably do a great job. You'd probably have to shim it a little bit, but that would work. I mean, it works with stencils, right? So a leaf can't be that much thinner than a stencil, maybe a shim or two. And when I say shim, I mean like, you know, an extra piece of cardstock. This looks really cool. I know you can't see this yet, but I think you're going to like it when you see it. I don't know if you guys can see any of that shine there, maybe just a little bit of it, but ooh, that looks pretty. Okay, so I have some honey mustard ink. I have some faded brick ink, and I also have some sea glass ink. So I'm going to use this. I see people still talking about the lawn mowing, Tom.
Some of them are glad they're not our neighbor.
Oh, you're glad that you're not our neighbor? Yeah, I would be too. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Tom yelled at our neighbor who was cutting his lawn during our live on Monday night. Okay, I'm going to try to stick right into where the leaf parts are. I'm trying not to go too far outside of the lines so you can see what's happening here. This is very much like skeleton leaves. This is so pretty. I'm really trying to be careful and not to do too much. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit over here. I really want to kind of blend the colors together. And of course, we're going to go outside a little bit because we want to make sure we get the outer edge detail. Put a little right in the center here. Okay. Now we're going to switch over to faded brick. Okay, and I have an orange brush. I don't want too much, so I rubbed a little bit off. Okay, I'm going to go over that same area here. And I'm going to keep adding color until you can see that whole leaf. This is really a pretty leaf. It's getting prettier too the more I use it. And see how nice and flat it's getting? It's getting really flat and usable. So yeah, Tom and I, we actually got away overnight. We went up to Lake Michigan and we camped on the lake just for a quick overnight. It was very nice, very beautiful up there. Chilly though, starting to get chilly here in Wisconsin. I'm going to go back over it again with the honey mustard. I'm going to really accent. See how when you start to really rub, it accents the edges. And I didn't reload this brush with anything. I'm just hitting the edges really hard with what ink was left on there from before. And I'm blending right over that faded brick too. But that's creating a really pretty blend for me. There we go. Ooh, isn't that nice? Now we'll kind of work our way down the stem. Isn't that pretty? Ah, I love it. Okay. So emboss resist with real leaves. How cool. Now, I want to fill all the rest of the area in with some sea glass. So this is going to be a bit of a struggle because I've got a lot of area to fill in. But before I do that, I'm going to take a piece of paper towel and I'm going to rub all over the surface just to get rid of, see how that's coming off of my paper towel. It's kind of what's sitting on top of the embossing powder. There we go. And now we're going to go to sea glass. And if you wanted it darker, you could go to like turquoise sea, something like that. But sea glass will be nice because it'll just kind of give it a skyish feel. So I'm going to come in from the side here. And then the leaf will just kind of glow. Yes, yes, yes. And then I still want to trim this down a little bit to fit on my card. And you can see I'm kind of blending into that honey mustard a little bit, and it's making it a little green, and that's okay. That makes it just look, it's prettier. It's got a nice blend to it. Oh, there's not a die set for skeleton leaves yet. That is definitely one that we want to do. I actually, that had been at one time an incentive set, so we didn't do a die set for it. And that is definitely one that should have dies. So we agree. Skeleton leaves needs dies. And I'm going to put my greeting on later because I want to make sure that this is nice and dry. And I didn't want to blend. Remember, our inks blend so well together that if I actually had stamped my greeting, it would start blending the greeting ink into the Ocean Mist ink. And I don't want to do that. That would just smear everything. So we're going to finish this nice blend. Yep, I used white embossing powder. I used the Gina K Designs fine detail embossing powder, and that really allows you to see a lot more of the detail that way. The difference between fine detail powder and regular embossing powder is the granules are much finer in the fine detail powder, so they don't swell up as much and you don't lose detail. I'm sure most of you knew that, but maybe some of you didn't, and that might be a little fun tip. Okay. Now I'm going to go over this again because I'm sure I got some turquoise sea on that. We'll dry that a little bit. Now I'm going to take my heat tool and just dry it because honestly, dye ink dries really, really quickly, but it does take a few minutes for it to dry on the inside of the cardstock. The cardstock absorbs the ink, and that's what gives us that really smooth airbrushed finish, is when it's totally dry, it looks, you know, kind of like that latex paint. It just solid. So we're going to cut this down again. This one can be a little bigger, I think. We can go 3 1/4 inches on this one. I'm actually going to cut to 3 7/8. And then on the other side, I'm going to cut it to 3 3/4. The reason why is because your edges pick up a little more of the ink. This one's sea glass, this color, sea glass. You pick up a little bit more of the ink on the edges. So when you trim them off, it really looks airbrushed. You know what? I don't, Sarita, I don't go back and look at all the questions on previous lives. And it's not because I don't want to. I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't have a lot of time to do that. So if you have a question, go ahead and ask it here. And, you know, Tom is not in the video tonight, so he's got a better chance of being able to see your question. All right, so let's go again with a little black panel for the outside. I've got a nice big piece of black cardstock to cut. I'm going to cut that down to 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. That should do it. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, and we will adhere these two together as well. Okay, yeah, you see, I think drying it a little bit really does help kind of even everything out. And again, I'm going right up to the edge here because it is a little warpy. There's a big area there that was embossed. This one I definitely think is going to need a white card base. I'm not even gonna I'm not even going to discuss it. Maybe I should, though. I mean, it would look pretty on a lot of different colors for sure. I mean, if you put it, and depending on color card base, that's what's going to come out more. If you put it on the honey mustard, you see how more of the honey mustard will show up. Andrea said, way better than horrible. Definitely. All right, so let me find a card base here. I do feel like the white is going to be the ticket, though. What do you guys think? See, that really just makes it all pop out. And then it doesn't favor one color over the other. So before I do that, let me dry that. I don't know what that is. Let's get our greeting on there. So I wanted to use the new incentive set. Here it is, the new Take Care incentive. And by the way, if you already have this incentive set, we have a brand new one debuting on Monday night. Brand new incentive set. So we'll put this up here in this corner, and we're all in this together. I like all of these. Stay safe, take care, but we're all in this together. It's just cute. I have to make sure I don't put this upside down. That would be so tragic. You know, I'm sure that I've done that before. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. We're all in this together. I like these greetings because they are very curvy and cute, and makes it easy if they're not perfectly straight for it still to look pretty good. All right, I might bring my Chucky tool out for this. So for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, this is my Chucky tool. My friend Chuck Meadows made this for me out of a curtain finial and a furniture pad, and he Gorilla Glued them together, and it works to put pressure on my Misty. And there's all kinds of Chucky tools. I think Karen Hightower made a photo album over in our group of everybody's different versions of their tool that they made. And it's pretty fun to go through and see what people did. Okay. But it does make it really easy to put even pressure. There we go. Oh, that's so pretty. This is truly one of my favorite greetings, especially right now. This is a COVID greeting. It's a fire greeting. It's a hurricane greeting. It's just perfect for any of that because there's so many people that need encouragement right now with everything going on. So we're all in this together. And then I think I will put this on the white card base. I think that'll look the best. Isn't that big leaf fun? So I actually, for those of you just joining me, I used a real leaf from my yard, from my tree out back. I just cut this off the tree. I didn't wait for one to fall off. I stole this one from my tree just because I wanted it to be not dried out or anything, and makes it super easy. This would be such a big stamp. And, you know, we have all kinds of really beautiful leaves in our collection, and we have a couple really pretty ones coming out in this new kit that I know you're going to love. If you liked the Nature's Touch kit, oh my goodness, you're going to love this kit. This kit is really fun. And the kit is debuting on Monday, along with some amazing sets from our illustrators. And then in October, we have a new master layouts coming for our holiday release. Okay, so there we go. We're all in this together. So pretty. Okay, so there is the one card that we made tonight. And here is the other card that we made tonight, and we embossed this one in gold. Yes, I'm going to have a live for our release on Monday night. And it's going to be a longer live because I always bring our illustrators in to talk about their sets. And then, of course, I have to do something with the new kit. So these are two cards that I made tonight. Now I'm going to put these aside, and just because we have a couple minutes, I want to just see this leaf here was a weed that I picked up from my backyard, and I'm going to stamp this one, and I want to see what it looks like stamped. I just have to see. So let me find this piece of cardstock here. We'll get this going. All right, so I'm going to do the VersaMark on it, because if this looks good, I might do something with it later. You never know. I'm going to do a little VersaMark on it, and then I want to show you what the leaves look like when you stamp them with the Gina K ink. See this little guy? He was just a weed. He didn't know he was going to be part of a Facebook Live. He got discovered tonight. Okay, let's just put that here, like that. And then we will put this little piece of cardstock over it. Let's see if we get any good impression from it. I did it. Oh, that's nice and smashed on there. Oh, wait till you see this one. All right, I'm going to do it in gold because it looks so pretty here in the VersaMark. In real life, you can see VersaMark, right? You know, when you're using it. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? See, you're not a weed. You're just an undiscovered, beautiful little leaf. But it really was. It was a big weed by our hostas, and I looked at the leaf. See, you start looking at things differently. Something that was a weed one day now is the perfect leaf for this technique. Oh, it's so pretty. Let's see. Let's see how it embosses. A beautiful weed, yes. See, yeah, go through your weeds and see what you have, because you don't necessarily need a leaf that you know, has like a name brand attached to it. Oh, I love that. That is stunning. That is stunning. Look at that gorgeous. Oh, that's right. The only difference, I love that, Brenda. The only difference between a weed and a flower is judgment. So true. So true. I feel like I could put one more like here and then do one down here. Okay, I'm saving you, little guy. We're going to come back to you in a little bit. All right, so now that you've seen that, let's see what ink looks like. I'll use the same maple leaf that I used before, and it's actually nice that it has a little VersaMark on it, because the VersaMark actually is going to help it grab ink. So let's use a color like, how about we use a color like warm cocoa. Really ink that up. I can see it now, though. It's definitely an inky technique. Now, if you don't have the big ink pads, you can also use ink cubes, and they actually might be easier to use on the leaves because you can really kind of press in close to the edges. Okay, and get some on the stem. And we'll just, you have to get this right, though, if you're going to lay it down. There we go. Okay. And then, I don't know if I have to rub quite as hard, because this leaf has been rubbed so many times that it's pretty flat. Okay. Ooh, here we go. Oh, isn't that pretty? Look how pretty that is. So I will definitely link the video to where I did this. I don't know if it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I did it with some Distress Oxide inks, but you can certainly do it with these. And you can even use your tidy towel on your leaf to clean it off if you want to change colors. definitely. Yeah, it's just a fascinating thing to do for sure. There's all kinds of things. I was looking at some of the little flowers that were kind of sitting on top of some of the weeds out there, and I was thinking, I wonder if I could press those into the ink and come up with something. Now let me show you. I did a big one earlier to try. That's a real big one. I did that with gold embossing, and then I used this same leaf. This one shriveled up. But and that's what's neat about it, is each one is different. And here's a card, a big card that I did with the other technique. I was just trying that out to see what it looked like. So here's a much bigger version of it. This is like a 6x6 card. So you can make big cards. You can also, I mean, that would be a really pretty little framed piece. You could do a couple of them and group them and hang them on your wall just to honor the fall. Right? And then, you know, you could put different ones in different color combinations for different seasons. In the spring, you could have more green ones. And yeah, so lots of fun ideas. I'll give you one more look at the cards we made tonight. Here is the one with, we're all in this together, with honey mustard, faded brick, and sea glass. And then this one that we embossed and we die cut the word thankful. And then we used the greeting from the stitched leaf stamp set, for your kindness. So there are tonight's card projects. All right. Well, sorry about that. I just rattled really loud in the microphone. All right. So time to switch cameras. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I am back. Well, you guys, this has been so much fun tonight. I hope you guys had a good time. The best news about this is you have nothing to buy. You can just go out and start clipping a few leaves from your trees and try making some of these cards on your own. These leaves are also really good if you wanted to use some kind of fabric ink, maybe like, I think it's called Fabriano ink, or I'm saying that wrong, but it's got the word fabric in it. There's an ink that you can buy at some of the big box craft stores. You could do these on napkins. You could do them on a tote bag. You know, lots of different things that you can do. Just press those leaves right into cardstock or fabric. Well, this was so much fun tonight. So Monday night, we have our release party. This Monday, I'm going to have several of our illustrators join me and show you their brand new sets. And I have a brand new kit, and it's an autumn themed kit. And one of the greetings in the kit is my quote for tonight. So here's the little hint maybe that you were hoping for. This will be a stamp in the new kit. So we talked about change, and change is hard. But the quote of the night is, trees show us just how beautiful letting go can be. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love you all so much. I will be back again next Monday. In the meantime, please stay safe, stay healthy. Love you all, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.